Hey, love, and welcome to this week's episode of Embodied Divinity. Let's take a collective deep breath together. Let yourself soften. Let your shoulders drop. Let your heart unclench. This is a space for truth, for tenderness, for remembering. And today we're diving into something that's tender and taboo, misunderstood and holy. Today we are talking about submission as a sacred and willing embodied act of power. I want to take you into a moment with me. It was late at night. I was hollowed out from the ache of life in general. The kind of ache that doesn't scream but simmers beneath the rib cage. And that night I stepped into the shower, hoping the water would rinse away all of it, the questions and the exhaustion and the trying. But it didn't. And so as I'm in there clearing my body, clearing my energy, I dropped to my knees. Not because I had to, but because there was nowhere else to go but in. And what rose from my lips wasn't a prayer in the usual sense. It was a declaration. I submit. Not I give up, not I surrender to the chaos, but I submit to my higher self, to the part of me that sees beyond this pain, the part of me that remembers who I am even when I forget. And in that moment, I felt humbled, stripped bare. All illusions of control were dissolved. And I felt safe and held and free. So we're going to sink into something a little deeper and maybe unexpected if you haven't been listening for a very long time. But I want to sink into the relationship or the way that the dominant and submissive roles in BDSM mirror holy submission. I've explored sacred submission in BDSM dynamics, and in that world, the submissive holds the power. They choose to open, they choose to trust, they set the boundaries, the safe word, the tempo. The Dom leads, but only because the sub has consented. And that is the kind of submission I'm speaking of here. Holy submission. It's not passive. It's not about being less. It's not about being controlled. It's about choosing to lay down the armor, choosing to soften, choosing to be led by something wiser within. There is a safety in that kind of submission. There is power and pleasure. When I submit to my higher self, I don't feel small. I feel held and erotic and whole. This weekend, I felt the deep letting go again. My daughter was on a road trip with her friends, and every part of my nervous system screamed, what if something happens? What if she needs me? But I knew, both logically and eternally, that my worry wouldn't protect her. My anxiety wouldn't anchor her. And so I practiced holy submission. I gave her to the divine. I trusted my higher self to whisper to hers. I trusted the unseen hands to catch her if I couldn't. And I let go from that place, not because it didn't ache, but because it was sacred. And that kind of leads us into this conversation about the illusion of control. We try to manage everything. Our relationships, our finances, our timelines, our healing. And somewhere along the way, we start believing the hypervigilance equals safety. Control is a trauma response. True power is being able to say, I trust the part of me that sees what I cannot control. I let go of the reins because I'm ready to be carried. Control exhausts us, it depletes us. Where, if you imagine it visually, the energy of control looks like reaching all your energy outward from every pore and crevice in your body and trying to find something to grip onto. It depletes your energy so much. I've watched generations in my family on my maternal side, my mother and her dad, my grandfather, and generations before that, so attached to control. And what it does is it exhausts them as they're trying to meddle and manipulate and figure everything out and manage every single detail, that they can't even enjoy life anymore or connection anymore. Control exhausts our systems, but submission restores us. And so I want to give you a couple of ways that I've practiced over the years submitting to your higher self and practicing that holy submission. So number one is similar to the one that I did and that I did spontaneously, and that's kind of where this ritual was created. But in the shower, kneel, let the water fall over you, and say out loud, I submit. I offer all that I carry. Lead me. And let the water symbolize the divine washing through you. The next one is what I call the devotional drop in. We place one hand on our heart, one on your womb or belly. Breathe deeply and say, I no longer lead alone. Visualize your higher self standing behind you, guiding your steps. This weekend for me, it was a big collective energy. I saw angels walking alongside my daughter and her friends, angels walking alongside my son, and angels walking alongside myself. And I leaned into that holding, and I wasn't extorting all of my energy trying to do things because I was leaning into this divine support. The next one I want to offer you is what I call the sacred release writing. And really, it's just bringing out your journal and asking the question on the top of the paper, what am I tired of holding? And just let yourself write whatever comes through for 5 to 10 minutes, just breathing, letting it pour out of your body, and then burn the page in a bowl or safely outdoors as a symbol of letting it go. Another thing that I love and always have going in my house is an altar for the unknown. You place a candle, a feather, a shell, and a photo of your younger self. And every morning, light the candle and say, I offer this day back to the divine. And remember, that's the divine in you, your highest self, the wise, all knowing part of you. And then the last one I'll offer is called somatic softening. And the way I do it is I just lie on the ground, preferably outside, but it works very well inside. Inhale into your hips and exhale with a sound. And just let the earth hold your weight and feel yourself being supported. These are just some of the things you can start to do to practice that holy submission, of that really powerful and intentional submission. When we submit, our intuition sharpens, synchronicities appear, love finds us in quiet corners, and peace seeps in where panic once ruled. We stop chasing and start receiving. We stop over giving and start overflowing. We stop proving and start becoming. And none of this is about bypassing the aches or the heavy feelings. It's about letting it soften us into truth, or as I like to say, letting life tenderize me. So here's what I want to leave you with. You don't have to carry it all alone. You were never meant to. Your power is not in the pushing harder, it's in bowing lower, not in defeat, but in devotion. There is a kind of beauty that only emerges when we let go. There is a kind of strength that only awakens in our softness. Let yourself be led. Let your higher self take the reins. Let the divine romance you with what you didn't see coming. You are safe to rest. You are safe to trust. You are safe to be held. And you are safe to submit. Remember, on Wednesday, I'm going to give you a guided meditation that's going to help you deepen into this knowing. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays on Substack, I publish an article that's related to this week's theme. And on Sunday, a newsletter giving you all of this week's learning and some journaly questions to reflect and really move through this energy of holy submission collectively. If this episode stirred something in you, I'd love for you to share it with someone you love. Send it to the part of you still gripping the reins. And if you'd like to explore these practices more deeply, you'll find links in the show notes to my book, Breathe Deep and Plan on Miracles, and my Inner Child Oracle cards. Until next time, breathe deep, submit sweetly, and plan on miracles. Love you guys.